teacher.
I hope you
And
don't mind. Let's go.
oh no, not at all. Mm-mm. I wanted to I really wanted to reach more students. I felt like I was teaching math and I felt like the math was in my way. I want to be with kids in a classroom, but the math is impeding my real progress, right? And I
Mhm.
was an incredible math teacher. I'm really good at explaining things, right? And I enjoyed I enjoyed being in the classroom with my students, but there were so many things that I saw that I'm like, I'm not, this is crazy. It bothered me. It bothered me, the lack of integrity in the system bothered me. It quickly became very depressing, honestly. Um, and so that turned into, like, I started writing school reform plans. Like,
Mhm.
nobody asked me for that, but I don't know what I was going to do with that either. I mean, I wanted to lay it out for myself. Like, every teacher is always like, they should do this instead of this, because we're on the ground doing the work. But there's all these people who haven't done enough of the work, right? They're far removed from what actually happens in a classroom and what's needed, and they're the ones making the decisions, which is just a typical setup for too many businesses, right?
Mhm.
And and so what happened was the Sandy Hook school shootings, and you look pretty young, so I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but it
Yeah, I
was
do. I actually do. I really do. I really
you
do. I heard about
do.
it. Yeah, I heard of it.
Okay, so it was awful as any school shooting, and it was massive. And I almost worked in that district. I had just moved from Connecticut to Ohio at this point, and I had not watched television for like 1,000 years at that point. And my mom was like, "You don't know what happened?" And I'm like, "What?" And so I started following it on social media, and I was horrified, right? Like anybody. But it wasn't like, oh, I can't believe this. I was horrified. But what caught my attention so much was how everyone vilified the shooter. And it sounds strange when if I say that, to some people, but this kid was 20 years old. And every time there's a shooting and every time there's something that happens in school, it's always like this air of like, how inappropriate. Oh, that's not nice. But we mandate children to attend schools. And he
Mm.
just finished year after year after year after year of being forced to attend your institution of learning, right? And so, how dare you turn around and call him a monster? The real conversation is what happened with
Yeah.
him.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's what I be thinking too. What's going on in their minds? Because for them to have to go to a school and shoot people, that had to be something from way back when in school.
Yeah. And they were like he had they said it in some weird way, like he had,
Mental illness, I think.
yeah, like
I think they used the
tendency
mental
for
illness.
autism. Like, oh, they're gonna chuck it up to like, that's not about autism. Okay. So you know what? News media, get your facts straight, since you're in the business of spreading facts, right? Get your facts straight. So if you don't know what the fuck autism is, don't be throwing that word around like
Exactly. My
maybe
brother has autism, and
yeah.
he doesn't act like that at all. My brother's very quiet. He's very smart, and he's very high functioning. So it has to do with your environment that you were in at that particular time and what it had
Exactly.
an effect on you. And that effect on him was so great to the point to where he was wanting to commit those crimes. And
Exactly. Like something went wrong. And, maybe it was this, maybe it was that, maybe, but whatever it was. And, I'm absolutely against this whole thing where like it starts at home. Well, yeah, no shit. But what starts at home and what starts at school? Because there's a lot of it that starts at school.
yeah, you're there 8 hours a day.
8 hours a day, much longer than the time I get to spend with my kids every
Mhm.
single day. And I'm saying this as a school teacher, and every teacher, most would be highly offended by a lot of the things I have to say. Oh, well, because it's the fucking truth,
Mhm.
And it's like, I just want to scream it from the rooftops. Like, school is the most dangerous place on earth,
Yeah.
And it's like, so I get all this. All of this emerged from I started to study bullying because when I looked at this kid and I was trying to find all the information I could about him, Adam Lanza, right? He killed his mother before he even went to do those shootings, and he killed himself, and, now it's like, oh, he's a monster. You're a monster, right? As a human being, as a mother, as an educator, I was like, wait a second. You don't get to call him. What the hell did you do for all those years?
Mhm.
Right? What the hell is going on? And everybody wants to celebrate all the dead kids, but nobody wants to pay attention to one kid who makes a bullying report.
That is very true, actually. They actually say that if you snitch, if you're a bully, you're a snitch. But it's like at the end of the day, you're trying to help yourself from self-destructive, self-destructing yourself.
Exactly. Exactly. It's a coping mechanism like addiction, not a good one, but we don't give credit to people for going out of their way to cope.
Hmm.
And we don't ask the real question. The effective one would be, what is wrong? What are you trying to avoid? What's so bad that you're using this coping mechanism to deal with it? Like,
Hmm.
meaning you're like, I'll take anything, right? Because I can't do this. I got to do something. And you just grab anything, and it happens to be the thing that will sabotage your own best interests, So, but instead, we're such a critical and a judgmental society. Um, oops, wait,
I feel that too.
I like
I actually feel
don't
that too.
have, huh?
I said I
Do
feel
you?
that too. Yeah, because I was bullied in school, believe it or not. Before I graduated like 4 years, 5 years ago now. So when I was in school, I was bullied so much, like to the brim, like brim, brim, brim. I was hanging out with the little popular kids in school, but they would bully me, and some of them wouldn't bully me, and it was just horrible. I was even peer pressured. Speaking onto the topic of being bullied, but we need that. We need to have those people in our lives and someone that we can cope with and talk to that can turn our minds around to something positive, because all that bullying I felt through in school, that led me to do this, which was talk to people about their lives and talk to people about what's going on in the world and really bring that inspiration more to my life so that I don't self-destruct, and that's really good how you brought that attention of bullying and how it's necessary that we have coping skills and learn how to cope and talk to people when something's going on.
Mhm. Jeremy, I'm gonna stop you for a second. I don't see you anymore. A call into oh, you know what? Excuse me, because I'm so tacky. It's the Zoom button. Okay, got it.
You found me? I
Yeah,
knew I was here.
I'm like, and I remember this, and it's got to click that Zoom button. I'm like going back to my internet. Okay.
I still see you. So it's all good. We're all good. We're all
Yeah, so
good.
you understand. I mean, so many people, I speak to this conversation about bullying affects all of us. You know, I set out to um find out the cure to bullying. So after looking at that, and I saw this kid was like, the teacher was like, well, he was quiet, he was awkward, I didn't know how to integrate him. and then one kid was like, well, I've spoken to him, and basically, we have absolutely no emotional intelligence inside of the school, and oops, it killed several people.
Yep, that's how they look at it.
Yeah, but nobody, caught that part. This kid's a monster, because it's free, especially like celebrities. If somebody's out in the media, oh, good, let me call them whatever I want, right? And why don't you treat them the way that you would want to be treated, the way that you would treat people personally? Why? Or is
Exactly.
that the way why are you still feeling like you can be allowed to call yourself in integrity, but take shots at uh, celebrities or people in the media because they put them there because we're idiots? I mean, are we? It's
No.
like what, you know what I'm saying? So like, but this is our dynamic that we have, like, socially. Do you know what I mean? This is
Yeah, it's like
it's
socially broken system.
but it's like it's us. Like, we have the power to say, you know what? I'm not going to talk about Kim Kardashian like it's free, because she's a freaking human being.
Exactly.
And so if I'm not a gossip, I'm not going to let me what the hell do you fucking know about Kim Kardashian except whatever she shows you in a picture? You don't
And
know her.
exactly.
So, but that's okay. But we don't want it. But we, everybody will tell their kids, that's not nice. Don't gossip. That's not nice. Be nice. But oh, it's a whole different story. Kim Kardashian is fair game. It's time, and I talk about those things because those things are bullying related.
Exactly.
We're full of shit when we're telling our kids, be nice, which you shouldn't tell your kids because that's bullshit. They shouldn't be nice. It's dangerous. There's another way to be that's not the bullshit of niceness, right? That's
Yeah,
dangerous.
because when you're nice, it's like people take advantage of you.
Yeah. And, niceness is about, like, the minute we step out of the womb, everybody wants us to focus on everybody but ourselves. We tell kids to share, and we're basically what we're saying is, like, here's your toy that you've earned, or that it's yours, or that you take care of and you're responsible for. And if this kid shows up to play because I felt like hanging out with his mom, you know what I'm saying, then you better give him whatever he wants that's yours. That's a dangerous concept. It's a dangerous concept, and we do it in school, and this bullshit sharing is caring. No, it's not. Sharing is caring about everyone but yourself. Like, and when do I develop, like, I will tell you what to do. Don't worry, you don't know anything. I'll tell you what to do. You should give him that toy because it makes him happy. Forget about your happiness. Forget about you asked for that toy for 6 months. Forget about that it's your responsibility. Forget about when anyone owns something, they need to be responsible. And part of that responsibility is not giving it to whoever asked for it because they like it. They're
Exactly.
gonna spit on it, stick it in the toilet. I mean, but we teach our kids this growing up, and then ta-da! Now you should know to stop that. It's like,
But he didn't learn anything.
right, and we don't know to stop that because how many of us adults feel bad about not giving all of our stuff to people, and people need help, and we should help them even if it'll put us out. And oh, what do I do? What do you do is, first of all, keep yourself safe and healthy. But, you should magically know that because all throughout your growing up, society collectively has taught you, if that person is not happy, that's your first priority. It's dangerous. No wonder we are such a society full of people who don't know who we are.
Mm,
We can't say who we are. We can't say what we love. We can't prioritize. We're always so torn when it comes to making decisions, like, because it's an option to screw ourselves over.
ooh,
It's not.
I
When we
love this. I love this. I
right?
really love this because it's like I'm watching everything you're saying. I'm watching people do day by day, just tearing themselves apart limb by limb. And then those people, those people that go on social media every day and they talk about these certain things in life, but they don't live up to those actions or those words that they're speaking about on the internet.
Yes. And which is good because a lot of it is some bullshit, especially about relationships. Oh, if he loves you, he should make you, like, buzzword. Nobody should make you anything. Do you know what I mean? Oh, you love me? Good. You do everything I want you to do. Okay. No. Right? Not helpful, not healthy, right? There's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot. We talk a good game, and we talk most of that to children, as if,
Exactly.
like, you know, we're gonna tell them and they're gonna be better than us. Bullshit. Because
Wow. Right now, we're looking at society, and these kids are not.
they are, and it's like kids these days, youth, have the power to shift this world, and that's why that is my passion, to engage with the youth and tell them the truth about all the lies they've been told, all the lies. Like, you know what, you do need to speak up for yourself. School trains you to shut the hell up, sit down, and how dare you have an opinion. I'll
Yep.
tell you when to have an opinion. That's literally what I will tell you, when to have an opinion.
Yeah,
Right?
it
And don't
does.
get me started on dress code.
Oh, my God. Oh, my gosh.
That's why we want to get on Kim Kardashian, because she's breaking all the dress codes every 5 minutes, right? Yeah, we're gonna tell you what to wear. No, no, it's like, so my daughter was telling me how she was in 6th grade this year, and she's like, oh, Susie got dress coded, this one got dress coded, and I'm like, well, I haven't heard once that a child got celebrated, right? I mean, yeah, the awards. Oh, look, you got an award for shutting the hell up better than everybody else. That's what the awards are for. But on a regular basis, are you giving your energy to finding kids and celebrating them? Are you giving your energy to asking what's wrong? Another friend of hers came over. He was being physically bullied, and no follow-up. He went and reported it to the assistant principal. And these are not vile, horrible people. I'm talking about the bullshit of a system. And we hide behind all kinds of systems: social media, the school system, the court system. The courts just shut up. The schools only shut up. Okay. Here's the thing. I've been in a school. I have, violated some rules on behalf of humanity, and I'll do it again. We hide behind systems. Systems don't have a heart and a soul and an opinion, nothing. So we have the heart and the soul and the mind. We have the power of all that. But no, I'll just let that thing tell me what to do and who I am and what to be and what to do in
Hmm.
this position.
It's all about them tax dollars.
Hmm?
It's all about them tax dollars.
It is. It is. Money is a big thing. And I don't think money wants to be pimped out that way, but that's what we're doing.
Exactly. Universities too. Universities are even worse.
Oh my God. It's like, this, and not obviously every teacher is like this, but there's this culture of like, the more I can kick your ass in my class, the better I am. Really? Because your job is to teach. So I don't really get how that works. That, the more people that fail your class, the more of a badass educator you are. I'm sorry. Do you know how to teach? Do you teach? Do you want people to understand what the fuck they came to this class and paid way too much to learn, or not?
Exactly.
Cut the bullshit. And then we tell kids, I can't tell you, as an advocate, how many times I have sat at a table with the principal and a teacher, and my client, who's a child, saying to a teacher, you did something that makes me scared of you being in your class. You know, I don't like how you pump your fists into the desk and yell. It scares me.
What?
And I can't tell you how many times, zero, I can tell you, I'll flip it like that, 0 times has that principal stepped in and gone, hey, we don't do this here. Thank you, kid, for having a pair of balls since we don't, and saying something to these adults that can easily torture you for the rest of the year. Thank you for saying that. I'm going to make sure that you don't feel unsafe. And then having the emotional intelligence not to just throw the teacher under the bus, but do you understand? Making sure that that child knows that's not okay. But instead, you know what they do? Well, Bobby, you at least this teacher is helping you to be prepared, you know, for dealing with difficult people.
Huh?
Literally, I'm telling you, this is what over and over when a teacher is an asshole, and and when I sit at a table, by the way, I'm sitting with a child on an IEP. I'm sitting with a child with a diagnosis. I'm sitting with a child that needs specialized learning. Okay. And as a teacher, trust me, I'm not saying that lightly, like, oh, la, 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 it's so easy. It's not so easy, but it still demands the respect that it demands somehow, period, end of story. I didn't like it, so I fucking left. So if you don't like it, get the fuck out of here and stop torturing children for a living. Do you know what I mean? Like, do something or refuse to fucking do it. Like, you know, like, and so constantly we're preparing children for the real world. How about we change the real world, because the real world is full of shit.
Exactly.
How about we stop pretending work-life balance is important because you send kids home with homework why?
I had to stay up hours.
I personally can attest to, I mean, every state I taught in, my students have broken records on their state exams. I don't even know if I passed my state exams when I was in school, okay? But my students, that's not me. Of course, I do my part, right? That's them doing their part. State exams, they have broken records. They have, you know, on their state exams performed so well. Not because I give masses of homework. Not because I barely give homework. Do you understand? I put the smallest weight on homework. Only if, you know, usually school will tell you you have to give homework, and you know, whatever, you have to give it, you know, whatever. Barely gave homework. Homework is some bullshit. I'm offended that after my child gives their all in your fucking boring ass, half-ass classroom, some, not all, that you have the nerve to come take up my 3 hours of quality time with my child. I'm offended. Like, exactly. I would go on a quest to ban homework in all the world.
Because it's not necessary.
It's offensive. It's a crime. And it's like, it sounds ridiculous, and I'm all about that. It's ridiculous. Stop it. Have that child give their all while they're in class. That's how I made it through school. I woke up early. I mean, that's when I started caring. I was like, junior year, I'm like, I look a little bit stupid on paper, but I know I'm not stupid. Maybe I could, like, I don't know, do something, you know? And so I was like, but I still stood by. I hate school. I don't want it stalking me when I get home. So I wanted to get out of my house anyway. So I woke up. I was the first one in school. I was doing my homework before school. I was doing my homework during class. I was studying during class. Like, if some teacher talks about nothing and teaches me nothing for an hour, good. I'm going to open a book and I'll study for another class, or I'll study for your class since I'm in your class. I didn't waste any time. You forced me to be here, but you can't force me to waste the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I used it. And that's what I tell kids all the time. I'm like, use your time. You have to come here anyway, but they don't have to tell you what to do when you come here. Not entirely. You know what? I'm gonna spend my time well when I'm here. I don't want my time to be wasted. But like then, they send you home with all this stuff, taking up even more of your time. I could go on, obviously, on
It
that.
was never a home. I was never a guy that really liked homework. I hated it.
I mean, who does? My son is a little strange. He did he did like homework at some point. He's over it, but when he was little, he was like, "Oh, I want to learn. I want to learn everything."
That's awesome. That's so awesome. I love like the way that you've been in the school system and you've like seen how broken it is and you came out and it was like, look, enough is enough. It's time to stand up for what's right, you know? And that's so powerful because the school system is broken. It really is. It's really causing these kids to become you know, not not really knowing what the real world has to offer. Because when we get in the real world, we're just like we're not learning about math or any of these things. We're learning about life skills.
Exactly. Exactly. It's like you've been wasting my time for 1,000 years. I'm 20 years old and I have no idea how to cope with my life because instead of teaching me something meaningful, you've been wasting my time. I mean, half of we already know this. And it's like we live in an age where we have access to everything. Everything is research. We have all kinds of answers. You're like, oh, here we go. Then why the fuck are you doing the same thing? Oh, I
Exactly.
know why. Because you're disrespectful. Because you're not suffering. Because you think like, oh well, my little rich kids that I have at home are fine. No, they're not.
Mm-mm.
You live in the same world with everybody. So get a clue if you're so smart and you're high horse. Do you know what I mean? In your high
Exactly.
position on your high horse, get a clue if you can afford it. Can you buy a clue? Get a clue because you don't get to separate from this. We're all fucked. Okay. It's
Mm-hmm.
like we're all in this together, whether you love it or not. It's like we know that there's another way. We know this, but we just, push play for the same, school hasn't even changed since like what it when it started. It's the same. It's like why?
And you notice most school shootings are people that are in their 20s or younger.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. And it's, it's there's a thing about, it's always talk about the word appropriate, right? Um what's appropriate when you look at brain science is a school shooting. Why? Because that child has been asking the adults who say they know everything and they're there to protect. And this is a no bullying bullshit. There is no fucking no bullying zone. The no bullying zone would be a zone where adults have empathy and respect for
Mm-hmm.
children. It's the only no bullying zone that could possibly exist. The only way a no bullying zone would possibly exist is when adults pay attention and invest themselves in respect for children. But because you don't, because it's not a priority, because everything is a priority besides that, then a child comes to a school that is an emotional war zone and you don't have the skills to help them navigate it. I'm talking both ends. I'm not talking, oh, the bully gets in trouble. That's bullshit. It's lazy. It's ineffective. We know it's ineffective.
Mm-hmm.
And we keep doing it. Oh, you get a punishment. I'm sorry, he's not a file in your cabinet. Do you know what I'm saying? That child
Exactly.
needs a conversation. That child has a reason they're doing what they're doing, unlike you. You know what I mean? So it's like we just file kids away, because we don't have time. And trust me, I know we don't have time. I didn't have, but you know, I invested the time when something came up. I invested the time. Those are important things when kids are having conflict. It's not stop it. Like, I always wanted to know. I mean, the first time I had to deal with a bullying issue, I lost my hairstyle. Like, what? You did what? This kid tells me you know, pulled on her leg while she's going up the stairs in front of, you know, masses of her are you trying, what
Are you trying to kill her?
are you trying to kill me? Like, I'm gonna die right now. I didn't even have children. I was like, you think her mother sent her to school for that? Did your mother send you to? And it was some of my students. And I'm like, do you think it's some bullshit when I ask you to be respectful in class? And of course they do, because it's bullshit everywhere. I don't give a shit what you do, you know, half the time, wherever. Just be like this in my class because I'm in control. No, it's not because it's ridiculous not to. It doesn't work. What the hell are you doing? What the hell was
Why are you trying to kill a girl in school?
Who does that? Please tell me. I was very curious. Please tell me, right? So, I mean, in the programming I created for schools, I mean, it's actually having a conversation. Schools have no system for when a child says something happened to me that I really don't like. You know, when a child comes to my house to play with my kids, if they were to come up to me and say something happened to me that I really don't like in your house, I'd be all ears.
Mm-hmm.
Naturally. Hello, what happened? This is on my watch. Oh, but it's fine. And you know, we have this definition of bullying. My daughter has told me that, well, the way she was harassed didn't meet the definition. Sorry, see you later.
Harassment is a crime though in this world.
But it's one of the things about bullying is that it has to be repeated. So was it repeated? This is what her counselor would say. Was it repeated? No, bitch, but it's about to be. You know, it's like, I think that's the plan. What do you think? What the hell is that? You know?
Yeah, exactly. If we do one harassment in the real world, it's over.
You know, and I know the thing is like, you know, we just overload people in schools. This is, again, I always say this, these are not horrible people. I don't know, this counselor, I wouldn't call her a horrible person. I did have to ask her to stop speaking to my kids. Don't speak to my kids. Right? But we overload people with so many things to do that it just becomes, you become a number so easily, even if that person had better intentions. And so what could happen is that person would say, no, would say, this is what's going on, and this is going to happen because of, they would advocate, right? I think anybody who works with human beings must learn advocacy.
Mm-hmm.
No, I cannot make this work for these human beings because you're overloading me. It's not going to work, and this will be the result. You have to stop. You have to let me do my job the way that I know how. You have, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, you have to allow me to do what works. You have to. But what happened? They train us well to shut up and I'll tell you what to do.
Mm-hmm. Instead of having empathy and listening.
Yeah, and instead of having a clue and saying, well, it's her job, it's this person's job, I expect them to become the expert. Yeah. So if they're telling me this isn't going to work, I got to stop and figure that out. Duh. It's not rocket science, right? But, you know, we're trained. And you know what? We can't anymore say like, oh, look, the system is bad for me. You know, oh, this is, you know, making me sad and making everything bad for us. No, we have to learn to use our middle finger. We have to learn to use all the middle fingers we can find. I actually went to a retreat and it was like a lot of meditative stuff. and I came with very strong intentions, and everyone was, talking about what they experienced during that time. And everybody saw colors, pretty colors, flowers and stuff, birds. I had a rifle loaded with middle fingers. I was shooting them everywhere. And I was like, yes, I get it. Like, that's what I need. I need that in my life. Like, you know what? No, that's right. No, thank you. Not having it, not happening. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't fucking work. And everyone's going to be fucked if I don't say no. I'm going to be fucked. And then I'm going to have to kill you. No, but, and it's true. It's like, I always say that. And everyone's like, oh, no, don't say that. It's true.
It's true,
like,
though.
it's appropriate. If you look at the brain, if you constantly get harassed and no one who claims to have the position where it's their responsibility to help you will help you, and you're constantly getting harassed and you're developing anxiety and you're scared to go to school and you're falling apart, it's appropriate to have an implosion. That's suicide. Okay, that's any mental illness, which is inevitable, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or an explosion, which is a school shooting, for example.
Yep.
It's appropriate. So stop it with the, oh, what? Of course there's fucking school shootings. I can't believe there aren't more, because it's appropriate for kids, for a human being, not kids. Oh, kids, they're so stupid and young and they don't get it. No, it's appropriate for a human being to lose it. Internally, externally, one way or another, something's gonna blow.
And people's lives are gonna get lost.
Yeah.
Like, we've had 237 mass shootings in America for what? Like, what? That's a lot.
Yeah. And, the statistics say that since Sandy Hook, which we made a big to do about, oh my God, let's start a foundation. It's like
that's an achievement. Like, what?
Yeah, like let's do a thing about it so that we could look like we care. It's like that. It's not doing a thing. It's not about guns. I don't give a shit how many guns you have. It's about stop leading or being an authority figure. Instead of using your head, you use your asshole. You have no leadership. You have no empathy, and then you expect, that's insanity, right? You keep doing the same shit. Mm-hmm. You expect something miraculously different. What have you changed fundamentally? Oh, you've trained teachers to use guns. Yeah, that's not a problem. That's not a solution that meets the problem. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. Just like they're having this open carry law that you can have an open fire, and some states don't even require a permit, and now the NRA, and it's just like, whoa, like, y'all are promoting guns to be just an everyday life thing.
Yeah. On one hand, we're trying to like, oh, let's, guns are the problem, so let's use more of them. It's like guns are not the problem, and using more of them is not a solution. And let's all have guns. I'm sorry, that's a war. I'm sorry. Why do you?
It starts with us.
We act like we're so smart, and we tell children, look, the presidency, that's the most coveted position, that's the most important person. A lie. Nobody's the most important person. You are the most important person in your world. Mm-hmm. Right? I am in mine, you are in yours. That's the only way it goes, right? So why are we teaching that to begin with, right? Why are we teaching respect your elders? Because it automatically tells a child they don't need to be respected as much.
Yeah, that is very true.
Why are we doing that? Why? So we could train a child to think they deserve less respect. Oh no, we have a problem with insecure people, masses of insecure adults. How did that happen? Yeah, no shit. It's all we've been teaching.
Exactly.
How does I remember telling my parents when I was young, I was like, stop asking me where I'm going. I'm like, at what point are you going to let me practice being responsible for where I am? You know, which was ridiculous.
Exactly.
So we're like, you need to tell us where you're going. You know, but in my mind, I'm like, you know, is there a point where you're going to like stop it? And then I'm going to say, I should decide to go to places that won't harm me. You know, like, are you going to let me practice or not? Right. Because then I'm screwed because I've never done this. And ta da, I'm 18. Good luck.
Yep.
College is
Exactly.
like one of the most dangerous places when we're talking about schools because, you know, this epidemic of rape and sexual assault and all kinds of things. Just
Hmm.
immaturity gone wild. Why? Because that's the age where you go, ta-da! We've never let you practice being yourself.
They spend sixties and thousands of dollars just to go to college, just to have college parties every single week, which makes no sense.
What, you know, which most aren't doing, but it's like the culture, we set it up so that futility dominates, right? What it like the hottest colleges, it's like based on their football teams and we protect the football. You know, it's just it's a lot of bullshit. It's a lot of bullshit
Hmm.
everywhere. And we wonder like, ooh, why do we have so much bullying? Because the entire presidential election is how to bully 101. Do you know
Yep.
what I mean?
Yep.
Crash course on bullying. You want to see some bullying? It's a crash course on immaturity. We have world leaders, and what we practice is we don't know how to resolve issues between one another, so we'll just kill each other. Oh, but
Exactly.
oh, I don't get it. You don't get it, really? Because it's very obvious, right?
Very
Right?
true.
We attack celebrities because we can. No other reason. Because we can. Oh, I'll use that person. I feel insecure and they have nice boobs. Perfect. I hate them. And there's
Literally.
this person's a slut now to me, you know, but oh, I don't want my son to say that. Oh no, no, that's not nice, Bobby. You know, it's like so those are the things I like to talk about.
No, and that's powerful. And like, I'm glad that you said these things in the interview because now everybody else gets to hear exactly what's going on in the truth. You're telling the truth to the world, and we need that. It's like everybody's spreading these lies about this is how this should be, and oh, because this person is like this, it's a mental health thing. Like this really opened up the door to understand what's going on with not just our youth, but what's going on with human beings entirely. Why are we still in the same boat we've been in years after years after years, generations after generations? Why are we continually doing the same thing over? And it's just getting worse decade by decade by decade. It's like nothing has changed, you know?
Yep, you said it. You said it. Every time I have these conversations with a young person, it's like they're like, duh, like they totally get it. And not to insult people my age at all, but the older we get, the more we're like, oh, hmm, you know, and sometimes I can't tell you how many people get offended if I just they're like, "What do you do?" I'm like, "Well, you know, I teach I talk about respecting children because it's, you know, the cure to bullying and, you know, and I talk about the sharing thing or something or I talk about, you know, just respecting children." Now, well, what I did worked just fine, you know, or something. I'm like, okay, I didn't ask you to do something else, you know, like I'm just saying, I'm just answering your question, you know. I mean, teachers get offended, and sometimes I'm like, you know, I throughout this process, I'm like, okay, you know, like I want to be a little bit, or I'm tempted to become a little bit quiet, right? And oh, maybe I shouldn't. You know what? No, I'm not being sassy. I'm just telling it like it is. I mean, it's, you
Exactly.
know, we create an environment like, when I say school is the most dangerous place on earth, as a teacher, of course. I mean, I try to imagine myself when I was teaching, hearing something like that, and I really can't exactly. But, I remember this whole, it's always, there's a lot of, oh, teachers aren't good enough and teachers this and teachers that. And, we need to have a real conversation about that, because as a teacher, I've never been trained on how to manage a classroom. I've
Mm.
never been trained on the impact of respect. I've never been trained that if you can understand what mutual respect looks like, you can manage your classroom. I've never been trained. Why not? I'm still paying for that shit. And I've never been trained on the most important things, because guess what? If everybody hates me, no one's going to cooperate with what I need to happen in my class for them to learn. Nobody will allow me to teach them, but to a certain extent, if I'm lucky, period. So why? Why? It's disrespectful to the child, because you know what? I might hate my job and then go home and still get paid for many years, but children will suffer. That's the
Yes.
problem, right? Children will suffer because you put their teachers and you put their parents, in these predicaments, right? It's like parents are so disrespected and disregarded in so many schools. They're just the stupidest idiots in the equation. Well, they provide you with their kids, right? And then forget about that, because kids are the worst part too. Oh, great. Oh, this kid, this kid, this kid. I hate them. I can't stand it. They're so stupid. I've heard all this from teachers. They're so stupid. How am I going to, teach them? I'm sorry. I think what your job is is to, teach
Yeah.
whoever shows up, right? Unless you want to go to China, they're not doing all of that, right? You want to teach the only, it's like, that's the gift of living in America, right? We find a way to educate everyone, or at least that's the idea. That's the plan.
Idea, right?
That's the plan. But we say all these things, and it's like, you don't have a school. The students are your customers.
Basically.
Why is this? Yeah, the only business that has zero respect for the customers. Why is it that when your customer walks through the door, you're not, I'm so glad you're here. I like it when you show up. I like it when you show up for this service. I'm excited. I celebrate you being here. You don't have to do anything. You showed up. I can't tell you. And of course, it's like I've been set up for this, because when I was student teaching, I had this student teacher, and we always say, oh, older teachers are burned out and they're mean. This girl was like 20 years old, 20 something years old. She was mean and horrifying and nasty. She had a group of, I think, kindergartners, either kindergarten or first, it must have been like kindergartners. And this one kid would come to school late all the time, and as if he drove himself to school, right? They rely on their parents to get them to school, but they catch the brunt for being late.
Mm.
We give attendance awards. Why the fuck? There's so much about children to celebrate, but you want to give a fucking attendance award. You know why? Because of money. They want to encourage kids to want to be. There are kids who are afraid to get sick, who when they're sick, they don't want to stay home, because you will be shamed to not receive the attendance award, and you won't get a lollipop or an ice cream.
It
It's disgusting. You know what
really
I'm
is.
saying? We use kids, we degrade them, we abuse them. It's an abusive practice. And when I say something like that, like as a parent in a school, they're like, woo, like, what the fuck is her problem? You know what I mean? No, God forbid, right? God forbid I would say something like that and someone would go, whoa, nobody gives a shit. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it
Exactly.
doesn't even catch our, you're asking me to respect these, okay, whatever, get over it. It's like, That's the response. But it's that child. I mean, this is happening. You know, and those children are having these experiences. I mean, as soon as we walk into kindergarten and we're like posting everybody's grades, you know, kids can tell like, oh, the teacher doesn't like you. You're not perfect enough. You don't
Exactly.
stand up quickly enough. You don't sit down quickly enough. You don't do what she wants. You don't understand. You need extra help. You're a nuisance. Look at your grades. Here's the chart of stickers. You
They do
know,
that.
we demote children. Like there's this clipping down, you know, like, you know, if we put a color, everybody knows about it because there's no way for everybody not to know about it. But we don't go out of our way to say, wait a second, how can we keep cooperation going without shaming, without any room for shaming? That's not a priority. Why the hell not? Because you are training bullies. It's a bully training. It's a, you know, the situation that I remember, it tells it so well in the Bronx a few years ago. There was a child, I think like, you know, like either older elementary or like middle school. I think it was like middle school or something. And he was being harassed by this kid every day. And one day he came in and he stabbed him almost to death, gave the knife to the counselor, and sat himself in the office and waited for the cops. This kid, quiet. We have no preparedness. We have no preparation for. We are not prepared for children. And we're creating this fucked up world. You know, I don't get into politics, but for whoever is like appalled and shocked at Donald Trump being elected, it's like, that's not a mistake. It's not shocking. We're raising assholes all day, every day, because we are assholes. Do you know what I mean? It's like, there's so much better. I mean, I did my best with all my heart, you know, when I was teaching, so many horrible mistakes because I was taught nothing. Do you know what I mean? Like, I could have Googled how to make a fucking lesson plan. And I don't think anybody, by the time I made so many lesson plans, I went to my, you know, to teach and didn't know what the fuck to, like, I had to basically from scratch now teach myself to actually teach because the lesson plan doesn't do shit except get handed in and get graded. And what the fuck are you supposed to do with it? Nobody knows. You know what I mean? Like a lesson plan doesn't deliver.
Yeah, exactly.
So it is just, yeah, it just bothers me.
But the good thing is though, I love it. I do. I do. Like you really inspired me. Like this was like really, really inspiring. Like just interviewing you and talking to you about things going on in the world, about children, about, you know, humans and society. It it makes me think differently. You know, it makes my perspective of life broaden more and like
Mm,
think about those things, you know, because when we wake up on a day-to-day basis, yes, you know, we think about, you know, our self, our mental health and all that stuff, and that's good. You need to think about how you're gonna make how you're are you happy with yourself? And then once you're happy with yourself, you need to learn how to cope with other people and have empathy. Empathy is a big thing, and that's why I'm glad we can have these conversations. I'm glad that we will be able to share this conversation with people in the world that need to listen to this conversation because it's very, very important. And if you don't look at these things and like take action now, it's gonna be even more of a train wreck. Not just for
yeah.
you, but for everybody else, you know?
Yeah. Is that why you do this?
Yes, I really want people to open up their minds more to what is actually going on in the world. What are what are the conversations we're having as people? What are people doing in their lives? What do they feel about what's going on in the world? What things do they have to say about what's going on in the world? you know, and that opens up a conversation for us to speak about these things so that when we look at all these interviews years after years after years of everybody I've done, we can actually fix some solutions that are going on in the world. And that's how we make things better for everyone that lives in the world, whether we're in America, the UK, anywhere. We need to start having these conversations.
So I can't tell you how magical. I mean, there's this one, I have to get his name. I watched a TED talk on this man who basically talks about like the science of conversation. And my LLC is actually called Enlightened Conversations because of everything, every solution that gets implemented is a conversation. It's like, we, we're so full of power and intelligence as human beings. The problem is just we don't talk about certain things, so it doesn't,
Mhm.
our power, our intelligence doesn't get activated. So I love that you're doing this. I was looking at the your Instagram page a while ago because it's been crazy for me on my end, and I was like, I want to do this interview. I love this. I love what you're doing. So thank you. Thank you for interviewing me.
You're welcome. And I just came back to actually doing video interviews. So like, yeah, like last month, I opened it back up. I said, look, I said I've been looking at everything, and I was like, you know, a lot of people are doing written interviews, and they're just going crazy. Like that website, the new website that I did interviews for now, because I have a newer website. That website actually is doing really well with those written interviews. So I said, if that's doing well, then we need to go ahead and get these video interviews out there and start sparking the message on video, because videos are more powerful because everybody's on YouTube, everybody's on Instagram watching videos. Videos are powerful.
Mhm.
Videos are powerful.
Mhm.
People will sit
Yep.
there and watch a video all day long.
Oh yes. Ask my kids.
And to watch a bunch of videos of conversations is engaging.
I love that personally. I love it because I feel my curiosity just light up because I want to know. And that's what I loved when I was looking at your Instagram page. I'm like, well, it's a face, right? And but what does this person have to say? That's the life, right? And if you could watch them say it, that's even better.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
now you see them talking, you see their face, you see the physicalness of the
they're
person.
fat. No, no.
And that's why
All of it.
I really appreciate you today. Like I really do. I can't wait to share this with the world. I know they're gonna love it. They're gonna love you. They're gonna appreciate everything you've had to say today. And I'm definitely gonna let the world know about who you are because they need to know. They need to know.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for listening to me.
Of
God bless
course.
anybody who listens that long. Go on and on and on.
You're a blessing. Like you're a blessing. We need that. We need those. We need these. Like I've been waiting to hear things like that, honestly.
Awesome. Well, you are a blessing. Thank you so much for doing this, acting on your power, your inclination. That's a big deal. Many of us don't do that.
Thank you.
It's a big deal because as I do it, I can feel the big deal that it is. So I honor you so much. Thank you.
I thank you for trying to make the youth better and make society better, because we need that. Like
Yeah, make the youth, as amazing as they are, understand how incredible they are. How old are you, Jeremy?
23.
Awesome. I just I just found these phone numbers. I met these incredible girls at the coffee shop who go to the university nearby. And I was like, what did I do? I thought I dropped their numbers because I want to start these continuous conversations with like 20 somethings, college age students. Have you heard of Clubhouse?
Yes.
Yeah, I want to start there, but I want to do more. Like I really love like the video, you know what I mean? So I'm like maybe like something like a Zoom conversation like you're doing now, um, just to discuss all these like topics, like to the nitty gritty, you know, dress codes and what's a slut, and nobody asked that question. You
Yeah,
know what
exactly. We need to have those conversations.
what is that? Because nobody can ever tell me when they call a little girl a slut in school, you know? But what is this stuff really? Because when you talk about it, it's like shining a light on it, it can murder all the witchery. You know what I'm saying?
And we need
So
that.
I'll be in contact with you for that. I hope that you'll join us with that.
I will. I will. I definitely will be a part of that conversation. I love to. I definitely love to.
Awesome. So good to meet you finally.
I know. Thank you. Thank you for reaching out, honestly. I appreciate it.
Yeah, synchronistic. I was like, I was like, I can do some writing because at the time I was like writing. I'm like, I can't, no more writing. I was kind of having a mental breakdown about uh, being overwhelmed, right? But I was like, oh, I can do writing. And then you were like, do you want to do a video? I'm like, a video? Even better.
Yep. Yep. I'm back.
Pleasure. It's my pleasure. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. We'll keep in contact.
Yep. Yep.
All
And
right.
I'll talk to you
Thank
soon.
you. See you
Bye.
soon. Bye bye.